What up, what up, what up, man? Y'all rocking with Native King on the Inside the Empire, baby.
Empire Visuals.
Native King.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Well, I know you from back in the day, but for the people that don't know you, where you from, man?
I was originally born in Littleton, Colorado.
Okay.
I spent most of my majority of my childhood between Inglewood, Sheridan, and Denver.
Is that where the 303 is that the 303 area code?
303 would be Denver, you know,
Okay.
720-303. But yeah, so obviously you guys know me. I always got a
303
9 times out of 10 I got a 303 beanie on. You know what I mean? Like I'm always representing for the, you know, where I'm from. You know, but I've been out in the Springs damn near
A long
6
time.
years on and off now. You know what I mean? So it's definitely been different.
Okay.
You know
So
what
when
I
did you
mean?
start rapping?
I originally started getting an interest into rap in probably like the transition period between middle school and high school, like that summer. You know what I mean? Between 8th and 9th grade was really where I started getting into it. I had a homie named Jose and another homeboy named Hernan, and they
Okay.
were freestyling and tapping their pens on the desk in fucking science class, man. And the teacher left. And they was freestyling and shit. They was like, come on, Austin, freestyle. Come on, freestyle with us. And I was like, bro, I don't never even done that. I don't know what that is. Like, what is that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I freestyled. It was awful. Like, they was clowning me, you know what I mean? Like, it was just not a good first run, bro. And, like, I was probably pretty bad at it for, like, the first year and a half. You know what I mean? Until I really, like, just stuck at it and kept building my craft. Like, but it definitely, it took a minute. When I first started, I was awful.
Okay, so where'd you get the name Native King from? Where do you consider yourself the native from?
So before I went by Native King, I went by Spyro Native. It was Spirow because I've always looked at how I rap like a dragon. You know what I mean? And Spyro was one of my favorite games growing up. So I was like, shit, Spyro, native of Colorado. You know, if you're from Colorado, you realize that people don't say like, oh yeah, I'm from Colorado. Like, no, I'm a native of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know. So the native has always been for that. As far as the king part, I mean that's pretty self-explanatory. You know
You
what
feel
I
like
mean?
you're the king?
I feel like lyrically, I do my thing. You know what I mean? And the thing is people get it twisted when you refer to yourself as a king. You know what I mean? They're like, oh well, you know, like you got to kill a king to be a king, or you gotta, you know, there can only be one king. Like look over the years, though. There's kings for different areas. There's kings for different. You know what I mean? Like. There's all kinds of different kings everywhere all over the world. You know what I mean? Especially back in the day. So it's like, I'm not saying I'm the only king. There can be multiple kings. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel like I'm in that tier of artistry. You know what I mean? So, but as far as like Native King, that didn't come to be until 2011. I started in 2010. I started a little rap group. Like it was Native Kings Productions. It was supposed to be like our record label. I was me, my homeboy Lil Ninja, and my homegirl Baby Savage, and we all three like kind of sat down and came up between the three of us with Native Kings Productions.
Okay.
You know, and the native part originally for her, because she's Native American. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So the native part for her was what we put in there. The Kings was for me and the homeboy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then the productions part of it was just kind of the whole
Okay.
ordeal, you know what I mean? But Native King was kind of given to me after that all kind of fell off. Like the homegirl Brianna, she didn't rap; she was just kind of a part of the group.
Okay.
You know, the homeboy Lil Ninja, he was an awful rapper. You know what I mean? Like shout out to my boy Matt, but like he wasn't good. You know, but he would freestyle with me all the time. You know what I mean? And like. So it was one of those things where once Native Kings Productions kind of fell off and I ran with it by myself, you know, everybody started calling me Native King. And I was like, okay, I like that.
Okay.
You know, I was like, let me...
Hey, I didn't know that.
Stick with
That's
that.
crazy. I've been wondering where you got that from since I met you too. When I first met you, you were signed to Dog Tag, I believe.
I may have been.
May have been. That was the Royal Castle days. But are you signed to a label now? What's the name of your label you got going?
I'm signed to a label, but it's my own label. It's Cypher Records.
Okay. And then when you switch over from Dog Tag to Cypher Tank, what happened with that?
So first I did Native Kings Productions for about 5 years, from about 2010 to 2015. During that time, I was in a transitional period where I had like artists leaving the label and doing other things, people that didn't want to rap no more. Like, everything kind of just fell apart, so I let Native Kings Productions go. Then I ended up bringing it back in 2016, something like that. And I had another fallout and issues that were happening, so I let it go again. And that was when I had met 3D, and 3D was like, come fuck with us, come do dog tag with me and Rose and Bars. And at the time, like, everything sounded really cool. It sounded like legit. It sounded like something that would benefit me, like that was going to do more for me than running my own label at the time. So I joined Dog Tag. For a while, I mean, we were probably one of the most popping groups in the Springs, you know what I mean? Between me, Rosen, and 3D, like, we were doing huge shows, and it kind of got to the point where, like, there were promises made that were never kept, you know what I mean? There were supposed record deals and all kinds of this stuff. We ended up getting robbed for like $900, et cetera, et cetera. So I did a track with 3D, and in that song, I said something about Cypher Tank. Okay. And from that, when I sat back and listened to the song, I was like, I like that. You know what I mean? And so I was like, when I left Dog Tag, I was like, do I go back to Native Kings Productions, and do that again? Or do I completely let that go and do something new? Or do I just go solo by myself and find another label? Or what? You know what I mean? I was like, I was really torn because I didn't know what to do. I talked with one of my close homeboys, and we decided the Cypher Tank Records would be dope, me and my homie Solis. And so we ended up getting together and doing that. And then I ended up actually signing 3D to Cypher Tank Records. Okay. And then we had a fall off with that or whatever. So I let Cypher Tank Records go again. And I kind of just did my own little solo thing for a while for the first time of, like, really my career. It was the first time I'd ever been, like, solo by myself. And then I ended up bringing back Cypher Tank Records. And, right now I'm really happy and proud with, like, the group that I have of artists, you know what I mean, and, like, everything else.
How many artists you got signed on
there? Right now it's myself, Savmatic, and the homegirl Tina Bean, and then we've got DJ Rob Dog. He does a lot of our merchandise. He does his own interview thing that he's got going on called the Doghouse. He does, beats. He does graphics. He does video stuff. He does all kinds of things, you know what I mean? And, like, it's a huge asset to the team. So, but right now that's really it. Also, I mean, I can get into the street team and stuff too. But, like, as far as artists and, like, main core pieces to the puzzle, that's the main four.
Okay. And then, so who inspired you to want to rap? Like, as far as, like, now I'm not gonna say mainstream rappers, but I mean, like, artists that everybody would know. Who would you say that would put a big influence on you and how you conduct when you go in the studio and how you perform when you're on stage?
As far as, like, there wasn't anyone in particular that really made me want to rap. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people be like, oh, I used to listen to, NWA or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to be a rapper just like them. Like, I never had that kind of moment. Like, I listened to a lot of people and stuff like that, but it was never a,
I want to replicate this.
I want to replicate, you know what I mean, and be these guys and stuff like that. Like, there was never any sort of thing for me like that outside of, I guess, like, maybe Tech 9. But for me, my real dad was probably my biggest influence for me starting music.
Okay. What kind of music
he don't.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And we really don't get along. That was really where it came from. It was I got tired of seeing therapists. I got tired of the pills. I got tired of, prescribe this and take this and, you know what I mean? And I just, once I started freestyling and once I kind of fell in love with that, it just it went from poetry to freestyle into rap. Like actually being able to sit down and make a song from scratch. So my real dad, one of my very first songs I ever wrote was kind of like a diss track towards him, you know what I mean? And that was more like what brought me into rap was the therapy aspect of it. Okay. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything in particular that one artist said or one artist did or anything like that I wanted to follow suit. But it was more along the lines of, like, I'm tired of the extra bullshit. Like, this is where I feel the most comfortable to release my pent-up aggression and my anger. And, you know what I mean? Like, rap became my therapy.
Okay. So, okay, I was going to ask you about that because I looked at, I think it was a live video or something you did, and you mentioned something about what you're talking about. You said you dropped a song called Mood Disorder?
It's not dropped yet. It's coming out on my mixtape,
Okay.
Essential to the City. It drops September 13th.
Okay. And then in that song, is that the specific song you're talking about, or that's kind of you just breaking down why you didn't go? Because in the live video, you were talking about how you use music as your vice and stuff. So is that you just kind of go into depth in that song?
It covers a lot of things. So my big issue with pills was they put me on this shit called Abilify.
Mm-hmm.
And it works great for my sister, you know what I mean? But for me, like, I started hearing voices and I started seeing things. And I was at the park with my sister and we were rollerblading, my older sister. And I seen, like, this clown by the Platte River, you know what I mean? And then I started hearing voices telling me to kill my sister. And it scared the shit out of me. Like, I was crying, like, I told my sister, like, get the fuck away from me. Like, she didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was freaking out. And I started smoking weed probably like a week after that, you know what I mean? Like, and so the song kind of touches on a lot of that. It touches on just my non-agreement with pills, you know what I mean? I don't feel like you should cover up, you know, your emotions and your, you know what and stuff like that, you know, because it don't matter what it is, whether it's ADHD, bipolar, which is technically what they diagnosed me with. Mm-hmm. They diagnosed me with 5 separate mood disorders, unspecified, instead of bipolar. So that was why the name of the song is called Mood Disorders.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't want to put 5 separate mood disorders, but it's called Mood Disorders for that reason. And it really was, the song, in a lot of ways, is just me letting people know why I disagree with putting kids on pills. You know what I mean? And shit like that. I almost view pills for kids as I do religion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Let them come to that when they come to that. You know what I mean? Okay. If you decide that you want something for your ADHD or whatever, then that should be on you. Like, it should never be forced onto somebody because you got problems. Okay. You know what I mean? They used to give my brother speed, bro, for real, for ADHD. Basically, that's really what they give you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it used to make him a zombie, bro. Like, I didn't even know my brother for a minute. He used to just walk around the house like nobody was in there. You know what I mean? So that song was really just me touching on a lot of aspects of why I don't think that people should be on pills. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So when you go into the studio, you know, everybody has their little thing. Some people smoke, some people drink when they're in the studio. So if you had an artist that was, say, to do pills or something, how would you feel about that? Would you let them say, like you said, that's their thing, or?
Now, there's a difference between just doing pills mm-hmm. and doing, you know what I'm saying, like a medication. Okay, now if you're just snorting lines of fucking, you know, oxys and Percocets and shit like that.
That's what I was talking about. In the studio.
That won't never make it into my studio.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And an artist that is entertaining that won't never make it onto my label. You know what I mean? I'm very anal, if you will, about that because I've had my own addiction to, you know, cocaine, and I was snowballing and drinking hard liquor on top of it, and for about 6 months, you know what I mean, where I really look back at my life like, how are you still alive? You know what I mean? And so, you know, as far as my artist goes, if you want to drink a little bit, or if you want to smoke some bud or something like that, or whatever, like, that's cool, you know what I mean? I don't mind that as long as you're not getting to the point where you can't function and do what your job is. You know what I mean? If I drink, I wait until after I get off stage. Mm-hmm. The weed thing, I could really care less. I smoke before I get on stage. I smoke after I get off stage. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a given. But like, as far I just hold that professionalism to myself and to the artists on the team because, you know, I don't want us like it's. There's a lot of venues, like, you couldn't go into Macado's and just start doing lines, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't go into a lot of these different studios and do these things, you know what I mean? And it's just the professional aspect of it. When you're there to work, you know what I mean? You don't just pay for studio time to party. You can party after, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So my thing is whenever we hit a venue, whenever we hit the studio, whenever we hit an interview or whatever, it is 100% professionalism, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, you always gonna get some comedy and shit with my team. Like, it's inevitable. Me, Sav, Rob, like, we're all funny people. So you're always gonna get that aspect, but there's always gonna be that seriousness to it. Because we take this serious, you know what I mean? This is our job, you know.
So, you have 2 artists signed, right? And a producer, you said?
Yeah.
Are they on your upcoming project?
I have got I've got 2 songs with Sav, which are already out and got videos. Shut the Competition Down and Rock the Mic. Both of those are gonna come out on my Essentials to the City mixtape.
And when's that drop real quick? Sorry.
September 13th.
Okay, y'all go get
my
that.
25th birthday. I'm doing a release show and I'm doing a birthday bash. So make sure that y'all come out to that.
Y'all
man.
make sure y'all come out. I've seen you live in concert. That was going to be one of my questions too. Since this whole COVID thing's been going on, nobody's been able to really see anybody live. But when you do go get to see Native King live, one of my favorite songs that you do is Augustin the Chill. I like that song when I get to see it live. You know, it brings a different feel to a show. It's because when you go to a show, most people think hype, they want to be doing backflips, but Augustin the Chill makes you calm down and really think about the words that are being said. So if that's what's your favorite song to do on stage?
Man, I think my favorite song right now to do is I'm Back. Okay. Just because as a song that you would perform live, like it has that right criteria to me. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, you know, there's no hook, there's no nothing. It's just raw from start to finish. Like, you know what I mean? So I really enjoy performing that. Depending on like the artists I can get out, like anytime me and Richard Ray get on stage and do All We Really Need, like I love to do that. Stay Blessed, Stay Blaze, it's a real short song that I like to open up with, but it's very much like a weed song, you know what I mean? And it kind of just puts it into that vibe from the jump, you know. I like doing Augustin a Chill. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on that song in general, you know what I mean, outside of like doing it live, but just like, you know, everything's been a little bit, I don't know, you can't please everybody, you know what I mean? Like, some people are going to really like it. Like, my mom don't even like that song. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really been hit and miss with that. So sometimes I'll do it live and other times I won't. But really what I've been trying to work on is getting to a point where, like, I'm not doing none of those songs no more. You know what I mean? Or when I do them, it's like, you know, like a treat, you know what I mean? Like,
for people who've been around and know.
It's like when Tech Nine's doing all of his new shit, but then he go back and do something off all 6s and all 7s. You're like, oh man, I would have never. That's so old. Like, I didn't think he was gonna do that. Live.
Something like that, but the amount of people that know it might be like blow you out the water. Like, dang, a lot of people know about this. So.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, Dead or Alive is always a good one too. Anything I can chop, you know what I mean, and rap fast on, I like doing live. I love the aspect of being on stage, man. It really don't matter what the song is.
Okay. So when you go to these shows, do you have any merchandise you sell, any CTR gear or stickers or anything?
Yes and no. Through over the years, we've had merch booths and different setups and different, you know, all kinds of stuff, you know. But as of right now, we're in the process of getting new merchandise made and everything. But with me just moving back out to Fountain, it's been, you know what I mean? I got a lot of other things I got to deal with as opposed to where I'd like to be putting my money into the merchandise aspect of it. I just haven't been able to.
I feel that.
But Rob Dog, DJ Rob Dog, shout out to my dude. He does a lot of our merchandise, like our Cypher Tank Records shirts. He does, you know, like our masks, all of that stuff and everything. So it's all something that you can definitely order from him. You know what I mean? Like, get it directly through from him. But, like, as far as, like, me having just a bunch of merchandise in a tote that I can just bring from show to show and set up a table, like, I don't have that right now.
Okay, I feel you.
That's the goal, though. Don't get it twisted. 2021, I'm dropping all kinds of merch.
And I know you do other things, too, like you shoot videos. I know, because you shot one of my first solo videos.
I've come a long way since then.
Yeah. So I know you do some other things. So do you do anything else, like produce or anything else? Could we come to Cypher Tank and get the whole package? If I need to come get a song and a video done, could we come to you guys and get the whole package?
The only thing that I don't have right now is the studio. Okay. You know what I mean? That's really the only thing that I'm lacking on. As far as that, though, I've got, like, the stuff for beats. I've got graphics. I've got video editing software. I've got, you know what I mean? Anything else and everything else that an artist would need, I have outside of the studio.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? So you can come and get everything after the song's done. You know what I mean? Once you get the song done, I got you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So how do you feel about the local scene from Colorado Springs versus, like, Denver?
They're trying to make people mad. That's what they're doing. Cause I'm gonna be honest, y'all know that.
We ready for it, man. It's inside the empire. We need to know.
You know, to be honest, man, I've always viewed Denver and the Springs as like two completely different states. You know what I mean? Because the way people act in the Springs and the way that things are in the Springs is completely different from Denver. Like, I don't know how much time you've spent in Denver, but like there's really a difference between how, like,
is it the support? Is it the artist? Is it?
It's just the people. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's in the Springs. People just seem more on edge. You know what I mean? To me, anyways. Like, when I go to shows, like, you've got artists that are like, you know, grumpy, or you got artists that are like, you know what I mean? In Denver, like, it's a party, bro. Like, we're here to fucking function. You know what I mean? And in the Springs, there always seems to be some sort of extra drama, some sort of extra, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, that's going to happen no matter where you go, and it does happen in Denver. But I've done hundreds, probably 250, 300 shows in Denver. You know what I mean? And that was before I even came out here. You know, and I've probably done 100, 200 shows in the Springs. So, like, I really feel like I am somebody that could compare it to, you know what I mean? And both sides of it, like, I don't mind doing shows in Denver, I don't mind doing shows in the Springs, but it is different, you know? And, of course, you're going to get a lot of different stuff with the Springs, too, because you got so much military out here, you know what I mean? And that tends to cause issues, too. You got gang members and the military crashing, and you know what I mean? That's why most of the venues have been shut down out here, or changed names multiple times, or, you know what I mean? Like, in Denver, you don't really have that. You've got venues that have been around forever, you know what I mean? And have never been shot up, have never been, you know what I mean? And in the Springs, it's like, there's always something going down, either a fight or a shooting, or, you know what I mean? It's just constantly, like, unnecessary shit popping off out here, you know? So, like, when I go to Denver and I do a show, it doesn't matter what, it's the north side, south, east, west, whatever, like, I feel comfortable in that situation. In the Springs, when I do shows, I'm always, like, constantly on surveillance, like, what's going on, what's popping off, you know what I mean? Like, crazy, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always, like, in that zone of just, like, be prepared for fucking anything in the Springs, because that's what I've come to accustomed to since I've been out here. You know what I mean? I've done so many shows where some shit's popped off, where, like, had I not been paying attention, I could have been done with, you know what I mean? So there's a huge difference between the two, and I'm not saying that's bad for, you know, the Springs, or bad for Denver, or like one's better than the other or anything. There's differences between the two.
I get you. So when you go to, let's start with Denver, are there any artists you specifically work with when you're in Denver?
As far as, like, music that I do,
yeah,
or
music.
Okay, as far as music, I hella fuck with Pheno Sickness.
Okay.
He's one of my main cats, DTI Productions. Anytime that I get down and I get to link up with them, it's always a blast, man. Obviously, Savmatic and Tina being that they're on the team, and you know what I mean. Even before they were, like, I was fucking with them heavy, you know. But there's a few.
How about in the Springs? Those are some of your go-tos when you're in the Springs. Let's start with artists that you... If you were going to the studio today, you had to take a feature with you, who you taking? Can't use nobody on your label, too. Let me say that, too. You can't use one of them.
I can't use nobody on my label?
Nobody on your label.
Okay.
So anybody else, you know.
Well, everybody on my label else is in Denver, too. So they...
Okay, so...
You know what I mean? So I'm the only CTR artist in the Springs.
Holding it down.
Honestly, man, if I had to pick an artist, like, if I just got through on the spot,
because I know you got like, Star Rat. I heard you talk about him, Richard Ray.
Yeah, Star Rats, Richard Ray, OE. If I really had to pick, like, if you hit me up and was like, hey, I got a free studio slot, but you got to bring another artist, and I need both y'all to come kill this track, Detox.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When we did that When I Write track on my Stable as Stay Blaze mixtape with me, him, and Rosen Bars, man, he shit on me and Rosen. That dude's just... Shout out to Detox, man, because he really is just such a talented artist, man. You know, but there's a lot of artists out here that I fuck with and enjoy working with. You know what I mean? Socrates, T&D, obviously. You know what I'm saying? J. Recluse, Loyalty, you know what I mean? Like... There's a lot of cats out here that I really do work with and function well with out here in the Springs. So, I mean, that's hard for me to really choose one. But if I had to just offer just pure straight, like, I know he's going to fucking murk it, like, I would have to go with Detox.
Okay. Shout out Detox. And then before we wrap up, man, I just want to know where can everybody find your music and where we can find you, you know what I mean, social media-wise?
Native King on pretty much anything, you know what I mean? I mainly use YouTube.
Okay.
I have a SoundCloud, but you might get the song on YouTube that's been out for 2 months before you get it on SoundCloud. You know what I mean? So YouTube's really the best place to go and find my music. Through anything Native King. Facebook is Native King 303. See what else I got. I have an Instagram. I can't get into it right now. I'm really salty about that. I don't want to talk about it. But I do have an IG. But as far as like just for music stuff, man, anything Native King. There's another dude on YouTube right now going by Native King. Obviously, he's Native American and I'm not, so it should be pretty easy to figure out who's who.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then Cypher Tank Records, man. Anything Cypher Tank Records you can find me through. It's CYPHER Tank Records. You know what I mean? And there's a YouTube for that, SoundCloud, the IG, the whole shebang. We got everything for CTR. And then as far as if y'all need video work or graphics or any of that shit, man, Cypher Scope Media, spelled the same as Cypher Tank. So.
And he got it all. He got the whole package deal if you hit up the King.
Man, look, that's just, I'm only a part of this, man. Don't even get me started on what Rob Dog do.
Well, shit, man. I appreciate you coming into Inside the Empire. You know, first interview, first time doing this.
Hey, man, y'all did a good job, bro. I give it to you.
I appreciate it. You were easy to interview, man, because sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking, but this was easy, you know?
Nah, man, I've been messing with y'all for years, so it should be easy. You know what I mean? There should be no reason it should be, like, weird or, you know what I mean?
Asking somebody questions, though, is like interrogate, man. I said, like, I'm
is,
sitting here staring at you. They can't see. I'm sitting here just staring at you. This feels like I'm interrogating.
Seeing at least,
man.
like,
what you got in your pockets? Like, shit.
I got some change. What you mean? I got 50 cents.
Oh, shit, man. This is the first episode of Inside the Empire. We got your boy, Native King. Don't forget to check him out. Where can we get that mixtape when it comes out?
You cop it from me.
You got physical copies?
I'm gonna have physical copies made for the show. Outside of that, man, like I said, everything goes to YouTube first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you'll be able to cop the whole mixtape there. I'll probably find some other places. I don't know exactly what all. There used to be places like, you know, that you could upload just your whole mixtape and you could download somebody's, you know, like mixtape.com and shit. Like, you used to be able to do a lot of those, but a lot of those aren't around anymore. So I'm gonna have to do my research and see where all I can drop the mixtape at. But, you know, definitely get at me for the hard copy. Come out to the show. That'd be the best place to get it. Come to the show. It's September 13th, 2020. It's my birthday bash as well, man. I'm gonna be 25.
Where are we going for the show?
I can't tell y'all yet, man.
Okay, I'm
still in negotiation with it. Okay. You know what I mean? But if everything goes to plan, man, it'll be at the Jazz Funk Connection. Okay. Where I did my Stay Blaze mixtape release show years ago and shit, you know, just because I love the vibe. It's not too big of a venue, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's something that I feel, you know, you guys have been a part of my release shows. You guys have been a part of my birthday bashes, so you guys know, like, you know, and I feel like if I get them both together and get the right artists on there, we could sell that place out. So that's really what my goal is. And hopefully by that time, you know, I'm going to have some merchandise for you guys as well and everything too. I'm going to have DJ Rob Dog coming out. I'm going to have all of the Cypher Tank Records family coming out. Me and Savmatic will be doing a couple of our songs together. So there's definitely a lot to look forward, man. September 13th, 2020, man.
Well, you heard it from the King himself. Inside the Empire. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. He's a Native King, man. Make sure y'all check me out, alright? Alright? I'm gonna do the next interview with no shirt on, you heard?
Yeah.